I 24FM flight attendant at a certain Middle Eastern company. I got visa to China because there we have the best flights, long flight, long layover, the best passengers. Every FA will know why. Anyhow, because it requires visa, many colleagues are lazy to get it, so only few of us are frequent on bidding for lanes to China. It happens that one of first officers is always bidding to China because, as I said, best flight. I happen to be very often with almost the same group of crew plus pilot plus first officer every month at least once. Fo is a young handsome man and ladies have an eye on him. We were sitting once at the airport waiting for our plane to arrive. We were going to take plane from another crew who would be on layover until next group arrives, and I was playing games on my console. Fo noticed and he sat next to me and started to ask me what I play beside this. And that's how our little friendship started. He would always sit near me and watch me play, and we started bringing our laptops to game in lobby of our hotel because it is good internet and we have 2 to 3 days layover in Beijing. Nothing much to do after you've been many times. Anyhow, as we started to talk about games, ladies started to interrogate me about nature of our relationship. Then last week, we were again in the lobby, internet was good, we played a certain 5-on-5 game you all know. We sat across each other in 4 people separate. 2 ladies from crew came and sat with us, one sat beside me, another sat next to him. They started to talk to us and we barely answered because we were focused. They were questioning him mostly. They'd ask me something too. Then after we both died in game, I asked them to please leave us alone and come after match is done, which will be in around 40 to 50 meters, then they can talk. I indicated that I will leave and they can talk to Fo. Hey got a bit shocked by my reaction, but they left. After the match was done, I said I'm going back to my room. He said he will go too. I told him girls will look for him. He said, and I quote, "Yeah, I better go ASAP." And we both left to our respective rooms. The next day, all the girls gave me cold shoulder. They were talking passive-aggressively to me. And when we were in the lobby kind of area after breaking our fast, someone brought sweets and fruits. I took a sour apple and some other sour fruits. I get pimples from sweets. Fo told me that it's a weird choice for dessert, and that's when one of the ladies said in front of the whole crew in very sarcastic tone, "Yeah, that's because she's so special, so different. Not like us other girls." And another one rolled her eyes very aggressively and almost yelled, "Did he pick you already?" Very awkward. This shocked me so much that I don't even recall what happened afterwards. Anyway, women, don't talk to me now at all, and I also heard rumors that I am sleeping with a Fo. Which is not true at all. One of male crew told me that they told him how I sent 2 girls away and told them to come back later, but before they returned, I took Fo to my room. Not true. This all makes me not want to go to my flights. It makes me want to change route, even though this one is really the best for me. For days I feel like I have a rat in my stomach and I am watching short videos on pick me girls and I feel like crying. At first I didn't let it get to me, but it got to me. I want to rip off my skin and crawl under my bed. I feel like throwing up all the time. Oop, thank you for your kind comment. Yes, I prefer no drama, however, I got pulled into a whole lots of drama. There are talks about a lawsuit. I did not see any of this coming. Oop, I feel like if I do it, I will be a snitch who is crying to a man in authority over something stupid. Women stuff, as they call it whenever something happens between women, it's like it's not significant. And I am afraid they will decapitate me if I snitch. Update 1. Oh my god, you guys. This whole situation spiraled more than I could have even imagined. Small thing became an avalanche. So someone commented how these women could make up stuff about me stealing and other things that could get me in serious troubles. So I eventually decided to text Fo to call me ASAP because he was operating a flight at the time and that there is an important matter we need to discuss. When he called me, I told him that XYZ people are spreading stories about us sleeping together during a layover. He said that he knows about it and that he dealt with it. I was confused. Asked what does he mean by that? He said that he wrote a letter to the management. In this letter, he addressed the fact that a certain crew member, me, was being verbally harassed by their position on that flight. He noted how he actually warned them politely and privately. I had no idea about that. And that captain actually gave him a permission to do it in his name. When the harassing continued, he also found out from 3 male crew members, including cabin manager, and 1 flight deck member, pilot in command, that each one of them was personally told by these women that Fo slept with me during layover that week. Not only was he angry that they continued to do this to me, he was actually personally offended by the slander, especially that they accused us during the holy month of Ramadan. He wrote a letter and made all above mentioned crew members and pilots sign it. Captain put his stamp on it. And Fo did too. He told me that slandering a woman, and man but mainly woman, without 4 male witnesses is actually a crime in the country where we are based, and he had all then present men's signs. They couldn't make them testify against us but for us. And our company's policy is that if there's a criminal lawsuit, not civil lawsuit, filed against any of the flight operating employees, their contracts will be terminated without further notice. So he wrote in the letter that he requests these crew members be banned from international layovers for 6 months and that they operate standby. You don't have a specific lane schedule. You must be ready 12 hours of each day to be called to any random flight, but for them, only domestic. You have 1 hour to appear at the airport. Also, you are paid mu less. This is hell BTW, for 6 months. He then continued to say that management has only 3 options: to do as he requested, to terminate them right away, or to do nothing and have him file in the lawsuit and their contracts will be terminated by default. And if he does file in a lawsuit, people who made up adultery story might get 6 months in jail. He copied the letter, had men sign each one of them. He sent 1 copy to each guy and to the management. He kept the original. He told me that management will call me after Eid and that I confirm everything they asked me and that he will send me a copy of the letter as well. I am beyond shocked. I am petrified. All I did was my job and play games in my paid free time. I never had any intentions to be part of someone's termination or lawsuit. And I had no idea how seriously he took this matter. Too seriously. I am literally beyond shocked right now and scared as well. I don't feel my legs and am shaking. I threw up after the call ended. I also asked him why the hell did he take such drastic measures. He said that I am unaware of what these stories can do to our reputation and if they reach wrong ears, even more than just reputation. And he said, and they made you cry, it's not drastic enough. Edit, I wrote some things wrong. Sri, I was shaken by everything. Sri ABT typos oop, true. But to be honest, pilots, both captains and officers, are known to sleep around with no shame, with pride, actually. Both married and single ones. It's a common knowledge. I guess this one cares though. I'm glad at least. Someone else would say yeah, we did sleep together, even T. Huff we didn't. The whole situation makes me really nervous and uneasy oop. He has a law degree as well. Aviation was his secondary call actually. He explained to me everything very slowly and clearly in a language I understood. But to this moment I am surprised how the hell I appeared in midst of this fiasco. Nonetheless, he is something else. I asked him what does he think will happen. He said he does not think company will let him file in a lawsuit because the story might leak out. It's a really bad look on them as well. And if they keep them and their punishment expires, by then he will already be the captain and of course continue to bid for China flights. If he sees any of them on his flight, he will have the right to reject them at the airport, which he will do. When asked why, he has the original document he made and it's completely legit according to the company's policy. He really holds grudges against them. It did not seem like that when it all happened, or I haven't noticed. So he said they will either terminate them or they will take his request but revoke their China visa from the system. But given that they might end up with him on other flights and he will for sure kick them, he believes they will be terminated. Either way, safe to say that I will not see them in China anymore. But let me clear things out. In aviation, hierarchy is everything. If pilot in command passes out, all authority is in hand of first officer who by default becomes the pilot in command unless Teresa relief captain on board. That's another captain who sits in business class on long flights. So if pilot in command is tired, they switch. Update 2. Okay, so basically, I had flight on Tuesday to Germany and had layover till Thursday. During this flight and layover, I was not with Fo on flight as we never get flight together outside of China Lane. However, cabin manager, let's call him guest director GD for short, is one of my bosses on flight who sometimes is on lane for China. He is with us like 40 to 30% of the time. Anyway, when this entire situation happened, pretty much entire group that goes to China frequently found out ABT what happened and it was clarified that Fo and I are not together. Anyway, on my layover in Munich, I was again doing as I usually do, gaming in the lobby when GD came over. He watched me play and we talked a bit. When I finished the match, he asked me if I would like to go bowling with him. We were always distant friendly on flights. He would sometimes be with us in lobby but we never spent one-to-one time. Anyway, I left to my room, got ready, met him in lobby at around 8:30 p.m. We went, did bowling till like 10:30, then he suggested we go eat something, blah blah, they'll spare you the details. GD asked me to confirm to him if I was with Fo. I told him no and why is he asking? He said he liked me from one event that happened a while ago, won't go into detail, but he said he always thought that I was actually with Fo but nobody brought it up, turns out everyone just thought that. I was a bit stunned for a moment. I told him that I am flattered. He asked me if I liked him. I told him that I do find him attractive and charming, which he really is, but that right now I'm going through a lot of stress and he caught me off guard. He was very chill about it. He continued to flirt with me throughout the night in very non-pushy manner. Very light, almost playful flirts. We saw each other again on Friday. Friday night comes, I'm at home, I did some gaming, Fo was online with 3 other PPL, I entered the call, we did little gaming, didn't talk much. He was very reserved, answered shortly. I later called him privately to ask what's up, he says he's busy right now. I asked him to call me back when he's done. He did not. Sunday, we have China Lane. On flight he didn't acknowledge me. During layover I was alone, he did not appear in the lobby. So I tried calling him, no answer. I went to reception, asked Fo's room number, as they already know us well, she gave it to me in trust. I go to his room in NGL, on the way over there, I was nervous what or whom I'll find in his room. I knock, he's alone. I asked him if There's something wrong, he says that there is. I asked him to talk, he told me to go away from his room and wait him in the lobby. Anyhow, I asked him what is up, why is he being distant? He says he thinks it's inappropriate for him to be around me furthermore. I was confused. He then explains everything by simply asking me if I had fun time in Munich. I felt like I am in a relationship and just got caught cheating. I ask him what does that have to do with anything and who told him about it? He tells me that it has everything to do with it and that unlike he says word in his language which is basically an insult to a man, like calling another man, not man GD, he does not run after a woman who is with another guy. Turns out he knew about Munich, he knew about our date in base and he was bitter about it, plus it appears that GD and Fo have some beef from before. I asked him if he viewed me more than just a friend, he gave me a look you stupid or something? And asked me if I was kidding. I told him I genuinely had no idea. He then brought up a bunch of stuff he did for me that, when he says it, does make it obvious but when you're being me, it wasn't obvious. I asked why he never told me. He said he made such obvious moves around me and I never reciprocated not even a bit, and when I went with GD with no hesitation, no thought how it might look to him, he figured I had no interest in him and wanted the other guy so he simply left me alone. I told him that I was not with the GD, he told me that had it been just random one time on layover going out, okay, but I went again when I reached base, I obviously was into him. I just stared at him, I mumbled that I am not with him and that nothing had happened and he got annoyed. He snatched my phone from the table, unlocked as he knew the password, opened first active social media app and found GD's chat right at the top. He turned the phone, showed me and said last text 40 minutes ago. That's all I need to know. I won't be anyone's afterthought. I was shocked to say the least, still am. This guy does not look like someone who would go for me at all. I stupidly asked him if that's it, he said that's it. I was dumbfounded and I don't know why, I just stood up, took my phone like an idiot and walked away. I am still processing the whole situation, don't know what to think, feel or do. After this conversation, I just feel like I got punched in the guts. Just few days ago I was not even considering that we were a possibility. I am still here. I have no one to talk to about this so I'm just venting here. On breakfast, he sat very far away from me, did not look at me. I feel sick to my stomach. 4 p.m, I haven't seen him around at all. Update 3. Last night at around 2 a.m, I was being miserable when I got a call from Fo. I picked the call, he asked me if he woke me up, I said that I was awake. He asked if I ate anything, I said no. He then asked if it's okay that he comes to my room, I said yeah. Second later he's knocking on my door with takeout. I let him inside, it was awkward at first. He said he couldn't sleep nor eat, thought I might be having the same issues so he brought us takeout. And added that he wanted to clear things out. And we did. He apologized for his behavior, for snatching my phone and said how besides it being a douche move, he shouldn't have acted on his anger especially given the fact that he's a pilot, he must act better when angry. He asked me if I had feelings for GD. I said that I didn't. He asked me why am I still texting him, I told him there was no specific reason, I just needed a distraction because these few months and days were too much for me, and we don't talk much anyway. I didn't see my family in half a year, was alone on Eid, he was just there, available. That's it. He asked if we kissed or anything, I said the truth. We didn't. Anyhow, he then explained to me that he fell for me a while ago, nearly 2 years ago when he still had a lot to go to become the captain. He told me how he questioned me here and there to see my views on world. He said how I told him a few times just randomly that I've never been in a relationship, I do not want a long relationship and if I do find a man that is good for me, I want it to end in marriage, as much as possible in accordance to our religion. He then continued to say how regardless of his last name and his family's wealth, he actually is paying his own debt for all the schooling abroad and the debt was big. His father did not support his aviation dreams. Sees pilots to be little more than truck drivers. At the time, nearly 2 years ago, he had so much yet to pay and he was so far from becoming the captain. He said that now that he is just few more lanes from 4 stripes, he was actually going to ask me to go official for just a few months for him to pay his debt so that he can completely focus on us. He never bothered to do it directly because I didn't go out with any guy, didn't communicate with any other guy more than he was comfortable seeing. He kinda took me for granted, security that cannot go away. And now that he is so close to getting a promotion, he heard I went out with another dude, and to pour vinegar on wound, that guy happens to be a dude he mortally hates. That's why he reacted the way he did and felt like all of our bonding over the past nearly 2 years went to drain for GD out of all people. I apologized to him for this entire situation and told him that I thought I'm hardcore cemented in friend zone given that he was around me for such a long time but never made an official move. I thought he behaved just how men naturally behave around women. He said he is not upset with me anymore and said how we already know each other so well and asked if I consider him to be a suitable man for myself. I said that I do. He asked me if I would end my private contact with the GD. I said that I would. He asked me if I would sign engagement contract to be legally his fiancée within few days so that our official relationship will be engagement and actually ends in marriage, as soon as he pays his loans. I said that I would. He told me what mahr he can pay at once or if I want another amount he could pay within some time. I said that I accept whatever he can do and won't burden him. He ended with saying, "Is this clear enough for you, madam? Are we official?" I laughed and said that now it is and yes we are. And I took my phone, called the GD in front of him. He was like, "WTF you doing?" I turned on the speaker, showed him sign to be silent. I talked to the GD, explained him in short what happened and he actually started laughing. I could hear he was smiling. He told me that even though Fo is an ass, he is actually happy for us and that he thinks Fo is the one for me and that he will make me happy. I asked if he was angry at all. He said no and how he felt like he won't get much warmth from someone else's son anyway. GD apologized if he caused issues between us and said it was 100% his intention at first, but he thinks I'm a good girl and it's haram to do this to me. Wished us both good luck and safe flight back home. I ended the call. My Fo made a surprised face but didn't say anything. He told me that he was nervous about operating a flight with no sleep and no food and he knew this had to be done. Anyhow, we wrapped things up, ate, visibly relaxed. Right now we are sitting at the airport waiting for our plane to arrive to go back to our base. My cheeks hurt from smiling. I went from being the most miserable person to being the happiest. I still wonder if he will ever tell me what went on between him and GD though. Oop, I don't see an issue with it. It's not for dating, it's for engagement. He has obligation to pay me my wedding gift. So I am for it. And he asked me to cut contact with a G. We who obviously wanted to sleep with me, I am okay with that. I see no issues. For instance, I did not mention having a crush for ABT 6 months on him. He never made a move and I eventually gave up. Imagine 2 years hang out with someone every month, sometimes even twice or thrice a month. He even would mention some girls in between, for the first year of knowing him. TF was I supposed to wait for him to maybe one day get epiphany to ask me out? Also, okay, he did a big thing for me that you'd usually think he would do only for his partner. First, this isn't the first time he did something for me, but he also did for his other colleagues, male, but so many times I did SHT for him out of pure heart. All of us flight attendants and flight crew buy stuff in US because it's like 4 times cheaper. We buy stuff in Paris and London for cheaper. He would see something, when I had visa for US, new shoes, Jordans, new iPhones, iPads, I bought for him, saved him thousands of dollars. Didn't do it to get under his skin, I did for him and anyone else that I was close to. So when he did what he did, I just consider it as something we do, have each other's back. Seems nuclear for you, isn't nuclear for me. Also, nobody got mad, people assumed we're together. We got mad because they said I f***ed him. That could have gotten me killed here, y'all limited people. Plus it's really humiliating to think of someone like this in our culture. I didn't fall in love out of nowhere. No. We are just similar people, with similar qualities and flaws, and we're self-aware. I like him physically, I could spend hours with him, I don't get bored, he earns well, OFC I would rather keep him for myself than to see him go with another woman. And I went with the GD because, A, I've been through shit and I was alone and I just needed a break.
B. Fo didn't give me signs of life in romantic ways, not ones that I noticed. C. A small part of me hoped did get reaction for going with GD. Action being this or being passive to I know what I'm dealing with. For 2 years I surrounded myself with him, distanced from all other men, and this guy didn't even kiss me. So what am I doing here? Give me something or GTFO. And actually the main reason I thought that maybe he might be a little bit into me is because few PPL on Reddit were like, yeah, he likes you. And I was too much of a pussy to ask him directly. So yeah, it's a lot more complicated than it's written here. Also, like, I brought some vapes for his mom from Jakarta that she likes. It's not like I just took favors but never did shit in return. Doesn't work like that in aviation, oop, no. He proposed marriage to me, we were accused of adultery. Not the same.